Hello everyone, graphic designer Theodore here, and I'm going to be continue working on the application or the landing page that I was working on a couple of videos ago. This is, I believe, the third video I'm going to be talking about this project, and we're going to be kind of learning together on how to make this look as good as I possibly can. And it's quite a process, honestly, to go from designing from wireframe, just black and white, to have a bit more design with the color version of the wireframe. And then from that, once you got everything the way that you design, to bring it into coding. And this is an important step to make sure that you have everything designed the way that the application should look like, because it's easier to change the design around than it is to change a bunch of code. And I've definitely learned this the hard way. I always had to remind myself, no matter how excited I get to make this into, to start coding this out, because I enjoy coding and want to get my feet wet with coding. But I tell myself, no, you gotta, it's kind of like you gotta sketch before you develop something. So you gotta go back and design it first. Make sure you got all the images that you need, all the content that you need, and then you'll be good to go to start coding. So let me just go ahead and show you what I have started here. So as you can see, we started this project from the wireframe here with just black and white, not much color in here. And so we went from there to get to, and also as you can see, I wasn't sure about, like, I use Lorem Ipsum text here. So as you can see, I wasn't sure on, like, what kind of words I wanted for this project, what I wanted to say. As you can see in the testimonial, there's not even images, and it just looks very like a start of a sketch or something. It looks like a sketch, kind of not much more detail than you need in this stage. Then from here I started putting in more words, as you can see, and here I just kind of started thinking of what I want the application to look like on the phone. I started coming out with a logo up here, and kind of just, even if it's like not finalized, I find it good to come out with some content of what you think the application will have. So, as you can see, I started putting that, and for the testimonial, I started changing around the colors, and I put in some images that I found, just they're fake images. And when it comes to, like, it's almost like UX UI when it comes to what you think of what user will use this product. So, like, like what the age is, what you think the typical age is of the user, who are you trying to reach for the users to use your products, and like what is the goal, and try to visualize a user in your head of what you think the ideal user is for using your application. And I started adding a bit more down here. So basically, before starting coding, I started taking some of the images that I knew I was going to need in the application, and I started separating them from the application here, so that I took this image and do it on artboard and save the image so that I could use it into the code as its own image. Because when you start coding, like this blue background, that's going to be the background color. You're not going to take this whole image here and just put it in and plop it in. That's not really typically how the landing page should go. We're really, all these sections, like up here, the navigation, where the blue background, they're all different sections that you want to put into your code. So even like the words, you're going to make the words its own paragraph or heading or whatever, and like you gotta have these buttons in here with its own separate images, and it works down here with with its own images, own content, paragraphs, um, and what the title is. Same with down here, and you're gonna have 3 different divs for the testimonial, and have the divs with their own backgrounds, different from the actual background, which is the blue back. We got the blue background here, and then you're gonna make like your own div, which is for the HTML div, and then you're gonna add a class to it, and with that class you're gonna make the its own like a background yellow or whatever color that you need it to be. And so I'm not going to go over every piece of code here, but this is kind of what I've started here, and I have a long way to go. Now when it comes to coding, I mainly focus on the HTML and the CSS, and what the HTML basically is all the words that you see in the browser. So it's like just literally all the words, like the paragraphs, the headers, the title of the page, and all that stuff. And then you would want to link the paragraph from the HTML to the CSS. And normally, when you start off, people normally the naming that they use is like index.html for the HTML, and then you do style.css for the CSS. And for the CSS, what it basically is how you make that's where you can start playing around with making the application look beautiful with the background. You can change the colors, you can change like how big the fonts are, you can change like that's where you like would put the images in, and basically how you want the application to look good by adding in different classes. And it's good to work on classes most of the time. There's class and ID that you can use, but most of the time I work with the classes, because classes you can use more than once, but an ID I believe you can only use it once in the whole page, so it can get kind of frustrating, being like, why can I not use this ID again? So you want to stick to classes for the most part. And so basically what our project looks like right now, let me just bring it up over here. So like I said, we have a lot to work on, but this is what it looks like right now. We got just the basic navigation here. We got this image, how I said, it's a separate image. Like, you can have your background image, but that's going to be different than where if you have this as its own image in the code, and you want the image to be in the folder. And I can show you kind of like how I have the folder named, which we got in the landing page. And it's always good to stay as organized as you can, because you can easily get confused when coding. And it's good to, I think it's best to say simplified with your code, and kind of have the same naming convention throughout your code. And you always want to comment your code the best that you can. Now I got some images here where I got some of the images pointing to from my my code. You can see I got the index here, which is the index.html, and the style sheet, which is the CSS. And I got some of the Illustrator. I got some of the Illustrator files in here from what I started designing the application itself. Now for the actual code, I wanted to show you, like, this is a little bit responsive also, or it is responsive, because that's what I'm mainly going for, with the drop down navigation and everything. And so basically for the code, as I can show you with the HTML, you always want to have the doc type up here. You want to have this head section here with the title, and the title is the community app. I haven't came up with a better name yet, but I like community app for now. Might change it later. And then you got your link to your style sheet, and you got your meta viewpoint, which allows it to kind of see the different sizes when you resize it for mobile. And this whole thing is working off of Bootstrap, and Bootstrap basically is just kind of a skeleton that you can work off from. It's a great thing, and it's something that helps everything be responsive for the application. And here, as you can see, I got the nav section right here, everything within the nav, which is up here on the top part of the page. And then got the home, about, project, contact. Now I'm gonna be changing this to how I want how to make it look close to the application. And then below the nav, I got, this is basically like the main content down here, as you can see. So we got this bunch of paragraph here. We're not going to need the paragraph at all, because it's basically going to say hello to the best community app, and then we just got some buttons and the email and subscribe button over there. So that's some of this code is going to change, and I will explain the change in a future video. And then down below this, what you got is basically the footer. So basically with the landing page or most website, you want to think of it as navigation mainly on top, the main content in the middle. The footer section is typically on the bottom of the page, and the footer can have the social media, some other reminders there, and sometimes people put the navigation on top and bottom as well of the page. So we're going to be doing that. And then you want to have the body tag here. The body basically has everything within the body tag, and the HTML tag starts from up top to the very last line of code, typically. And then we got mainly the CSS here, but I'm going to cover the CSS a bit more in the next video. I don't want this video to be too long, but basically for the CSS, now it's good to really think of like the name, what you want to name most of your classes. It's good to not, with CSS it's so easy to get so much code, and you can get lost in that code and be like, I don't know what this class does what. Sometimes you'll have like 50 lines of code that will pretty much not do anything. And, like the more you write it, like at first it seems more easy, but you gotta try to stay simplified with your code, because I think that the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I'm a little rusty with this, so I'm kind of getting back into it. But like I said, if you write too much code, I feel like it starts to like get really clunky. I mean, some things, like with some sites will have a lot of code, and some sites not as much code. But no matter what, it's always good to cut down on your CSS as best as you can. And so what I'm trying to do is, it's always good to indent your code, and I try to do my best in commenting all the code, and I will explain why you should comment more. And like mostly the reason why you should comment your code is so that you can remember what each code goes to what section of the page. But I want to go ahead and end this video right here, and kind of see, so this is like the progress that we have here now. And I want to go over more of the progress later in another video, but I want to end it here so that it's not too long of a video. And basically just want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. If you have any suggestions for my future video, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.